Hello. I am trying to resume my live streaming. I was live streaming weekly on Wednesday, and now that I'm back in the US for about another month and a half, I'm going to continue. So I'm checking my phone to make sure that I'm, in fact, actually going live. Okay. All right. Welcome to the live stream. Okay. It looks like it's going live. Um, I've got to give the link to some people. So I wish I knew how to have music going on to show um, what we were doing. Your live stream. Okay, that's not what I want to do. Switch account. Okay, yep, I can see myself. I want to share this. Copy link. And here we go. Um, I'm putting the link in. And now I am going to text it to one. I can find her. Here we go. It's a shame that I don't have a way to automate this. There we go. Okay. We are ready. We are ready to be alive, to be alive. Thank you so much for joining. Because of the way this works, I can't actually tell if there's anybody watching. There's a special link I'm supposed to send out so that you can write with comments so that I can see it. So I apologize that even though I did learn how to do that, and I learned how to do it maybe a year ago, I haven't been doing it. So therefore, but I would still encourage you to please write in the chat where you're watching from. And I'm particularly interested in knowing if you have ever been on a sabbatical, or if you're planning to go on a sabbatical, or if you're just dreaming of going on a sabbatical. So I am just returning from my third 3-month sabbatical, 3-ish month sabbatical. And that was in Mexico this summer. I've actually been back in the US for a month. And so this is the theme today is I'm back and sort of the recaps. I brought a couple of souvenirs, things I brought back, things that were special moments. Want to talk about some of the struggles. Want to talk about the planning process of planning a 3-month sabbatical. I am actually planning a 6-month sabbatical. This will be my first 6-month sabbatical. Um, yeah, so we'll get into it. So if this is your first time here, I'm Dr. Crystal. Thank you for watching on Sabbatical with Dr. Crystal. On this channel, I talk about my journey traveling as a solo traveler, a slow traveler, as a woman over 55. I would say if you're a woman over 40, you've been in the workforce 10 plus years, burned out, stressed, need a break. I believe that everybody deserves a sabbatical, needs a sabbatical. And certainly if you've been working more than 7 years straight and you have not had any significant time away from work and earning, I think this is something that you need to put on your bucket list. If it's already on your bucket list, this is the channel where we help people learn what to do and what not to do, and also ways to fund your sabbatical. And so I have a big announcement at the end of tonight. Actually, two announcements. One's not that big. The other one is a little bit big. Um, yeah, so that's what I want to get into. So let me take a look at my notes. Sorry, I have notes here. And I have water here. So if that sounds like you, or if you just love talking about travel, you're just wanting to live vicariously by other people who travel, I believe that this could be your season too. 2 years before I left on my first sabbatical in July of 2024, I thought this was something that I wanted to do but would never be able to afford. And once I got into the weeds of to figure out, could I do it? I actually found out that I could do it. So I retired early and started my life as a full-time traveler. I started with the intention of being gone 1 year, knowing that it was 50-50 if I would actually be ready to go back to work at the end, or teach full-time teaching at the end of the year. So I just wanted to take a minute, since I've been back a month now. I actually came back for some very specific key events, and I really wanted to be able to tell you all more about that. And so I want to start by giving a brief overview of where I was, what I did, what were some of the highlights, some of the lessons that I learned, the really beautiful moments. I actually have some pictures. I'm not really sure how it's going to work out for me to show the pictures, because I didn't upload them as media, but I have the ability to share my screen and show them to you. So we're going to try that method. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about my planning process of this third sabbatical that I just finished, and how my planning process is evolving for this next significant travel that I'm doing. And then I want to also talk about some new things that are going on in my life and travel itinerary. So where am I now? I am currently in Clarkston, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta. Formerly, I was based out of McDonough, Georgia, and legally, my stuff and my address is still in McDonough, Georgia. And I'm in Clarkston because there was an Airbnb that was available for a month within my budget, close to where my daughter is now staying, and so here I am. And what's been really interesting and nice about this is that my time in Mexico really prepared me to be resilient when it comes to thinking about what it's like to be sort of out in nature. I'm in a studio, which is new for me. I'm usually in a one-bedroom apartment. When I pick an Airbnb, I usually go for that. If I'm in a hotel room, obviously, I guess it's more like a studio. It's actually a bedroom with a refrigerator and a microwave, if you're lucky. So there's a beautiful desk, a beautiful view with a desk facing the view of the garden and the trees out back. There's a wooded area with a creek in the back. And I've had a chance to be visited by chickens, by tortoises, by these humongous bumblebees who are eating a lilac bush. I think it's a lilac or lavender bush that's right outside the window, and also a beautiful monarch butterfly. So I've posted those videos of some of the things that have happened here on TikTok, and then also on Substack, on my Substack. And I don't think I made it to Instagram yet. So a lot of nature here, and being in Mexico really allowed me to realize that I would say I'm kind of a scaredy cat. I don't really like critters and creatures and stuff. I don't mind domesticated pets, dogs and cats and fish, but I'm not really one who wants to be around critters. So being in Mexico for an extended period of time really introduced me to some new types of critters and made me more resilient for this experience. So I left in mid-June, to go to Guadalajara, Mexico, which is in the state of Jalisco. And if you've been watching my channel, you may know that I had an injury the first day that I arrived off the plane in Guadalajara airport. And so that is already kind of chronicled well in another video, so I'm not going to go too much into that. But I do want to say that the overall theme of my Mexico sabbatical was really more professional development and language development, as I've been trying to learn Spanish now for, I think this is going to be this December will make 4 years since I started trying to learn Spanish. And so it was my first time taking a formal Spanish course, and it was a Spanish intensive, which means it was every day, all day. And that was really intense. What I learned is that my language has improved as a result of having to listen to people speak Spanish all day long. And so that was a really good experience. It was stressful in the moment. The work was extremely hard. I was fortunate enough that I tested into the intermediate course, or at least I thought at the time it was fortunate. But the truth is, I don't really know enough grammar to be an intermediate level student. But I was, I bought the book. That's where they placed me. That's where I went. And I could have actually downgraded myself after the first day, but my pride got the better of me. And I was like, how bad can it be? I can make it. So, and I did. I mean, it was stressful, but I did. I also was there, as you all know, because I've had a four-part series so far on teaching English as a foreign language, which I'm calling the Teach English Abroad series. And that interview series is based on the 4 weeks that I spent at the International Teacher Training Institute, where I became certified in the country in Mexico to teach English, and was, in fact, I interviewed for a position and was given an online teaching position there. But because of everything that I had scheduled to do, they kind of needed me to start immediately. I really wasn't in a position to start immediately, so therefore I had to reject the offer. But it was a good experience to go through sort of how different it is to have a job interview in another country, and the type of things that they cannot ask you here that in other countries it's considered expected for them to know about, sort of like your family and your finances, and so many really personal questions. Um, so I had a great experience getting certified. It was an intense course, as you can tell if you've listened to any of the other episodes. But what I will say is that my overall purpose in Guadalajara, choosing Guadalajara for the course, was because of my theme of wanting to build community and to improve my Spanish language skills. And I definitely would say Guadalajara was an excellent choice for that. I got an opportunity to do a lot of social events. I'm gonna actually wait till the end of this section to kind of try to show you the pictures. So I do want to say that I celebrated my graduation from ITO, which is what ITTO stands for, and the TEFL certification process by spending 10 days in Puerto Vallarta, which, if you know anything about the geography of Mexico, that is sort of a resort area that developed, I guess, recently. So it's not like 1,000 years old like the other communities and states in the country of Mexico. Puerto Vallarta is sort of known more as a touristy place or a resort style place. It's really beautiful. It's right on the ocean. I did not accomplish my goal of setting my feet in the ocean because the day that we went to Puerto Vallarta to the beach, it was so ridiculously hot, like one of the hottest days of the whole summer. And I just couldn't. I did take pictures of the water, and those are available, but I didn't actually put my feet in the ocean over there. So that's one of the sad things there, one of the regrets that I have. And then I went back to Guadalajara to do 2 micro credentials and to spend some time actually like looking for a job online, deciding that I didn't want a job online, and also going through the process of getting qualified to teach online through Preply. So currently, if you know someone who's looking for someone to help them with their English, I am currently set up to tutor people online using the Preply platform. I'm also planning to apply for teaching English teaching jobs in the next set of countries that I'm going to, or at least explore the possibility. And so altogether, of the 12 weeks I was gone, I spent 7 of them in Guadalajara. So 6 weeks, actually, it was more than that. I spent 9 weeks total. That can't be right. I was there 4 weeks. 4 plus 2 is 6, 7. Okay, 7 out of 12. 7 of the 12 weeks. Sorry about that. That was throwing me for a loop. Oh, I do see that I have something in the chat. Let's see if it'll show me what's going on in the chat. Oh, wonderful. Thank you guys for coming. I won't try to guess the names based on looking at these, but I'm so excited that you guys joined me. So, so after the second tour in Guadalajara, which was only about 9 days, we went to San Miguel de Allende, and I say we because by this time my son had joined me. And in San Miguel de Allende, that was actually the highlight of my trip. San Miguel de Allende is a beautiful, colorful, quaint cobblestone town, and we lived in a like a enclosed gated community where the accommodations were really nice and comfortable and beautiful. Great kitchen, a lot of good cooking, a lot of good local market vendors. And I do have some pictures of two of the market pictures from that part of my stay. And then I finished up after San Miguel de Allende, which we were also there about 10 days, in Mexico City, which we were in Mexico City about 8 days. And our flight, both of us, my son and myself, our flights were from Mexico City back to the US. And so that's kind of like the overview of where I actually was. And so I'm going to now take a chance and see if I can share these pictures. Let's see. My ring light is a little bit out here. Because I haven't live streamed in a really long time, I'm also out of practice. Okay, we're going to do this. Let's open this up. Okay, this first picture. Okay, let's see if I can share my screen. Share screen. Recap, poster. Okay, window. Oh, here we go. I figured it out, I think. Okay, you should be looking at a picture of a group of women sitting around a table. So I don't know that this is allowing me to do this. Can someone in the chat tell me if you can? Oh, hi, Sarah and Kinky Beauty and Junket. So please let me know if you can see the picture that I'm showing. Oh, hi, Marissa. So welcome, everybody. So this is a picture of my class that graduated. This is our graduation dinner. And so many wonderful people. This is also a picture on the right-hand side. The woman in the red was like our lead teacher, was a phenomenal teacher, and also was the person who conducted my interview to teach for IMAC as an online instructor, and that was a great experience. And the woman next to her was my advisor. Thank you for telling me that you could see it. Was my advisor, and actually, she was the first person that agreed to interview me. And everyone else around the table, I'm not going to try to do the names because now we graduated on July 30th. So it's been a minute since I said all of their names. So I don't want to mess anybody up. But anyway, there was a woman from Russia there. There was a woman from Central America, a group of teachers, two teachers, one of which was the descendant. Her father was from Jalisco, which is why she was in Guadalajara and she traveled back and forth there often. A teacher from Chicago and another one from California, and many other wonderful people who we became very close. There were 8 of us all together. So let me see if I can how to oh, there we go. Okay, so this picture came from the promenade when we went to the beach. And one of the things that was very popular in Mexico is, even though it wasn't the Day of the Dead, that I enjoyed doing was looking at the crafts. So this is a picture from a shop that we were in where they do all of these beautiful beaded sculptures, jewelry, furniture, and I actually have a ring, and I wish I remembered what it was called, but when I get back on camera, I'll be able to show you the ring. So this is a picture of one of the markets that I went to, and this is a market where I did a lot of food shopping. And so I'm coming out of the market looking to the right, and I'm looking at these purses, because one of the things that I learned in Mexico, because every city I went to one of these markets where you can buy handmade goods or imported goods that are of Mexican design, as well as fruits and vegetables, with these straw bags. And I wanted one, and I was kind of like reminding myself that I should go back. I cut her and her son out of the picture so they wouldn't be on there. This is a picture just to remind me to tell you guys about how amazing the fruit is. I ate so much great pineapple, watermelon, mango, and passion fruit. I have a sweet tooth, so I developed a wonderful love for passion fruit. They call them like alfresco, so it's like a fruit-based water, fruit-flavored water. But oh my gosh, the fruit is amazing. So this is at a really high-end grocery store, which of course I don't remember the name of, but is one of my guilty pleasures. Is not only do I like going to the local markets where the local people shop for fruits and vegetables, and you can get like 3 bags of produce for $5 or $6. But I also like going to these fancy markets because their bakeries are good. They usually have some type of candy shop where they make chocolate. Mexico, is also known for chocolate. And other, I guess, specialty goods. ready-made food, prepared food. So this is a picture of me. This is in Guadalajara at one of the squares in front of a very famous, in a plaza, one of the famous plazas in front of one of the famous museums. And I had the pleasure of meeting Marissa Price from Marissa Price Heals. If you're not familiar with her channel, you definitely, if you're a Black woman who's had any stress or toxicity in your life or career, it is the safe space for healing, and she has great programming around that. So I had a chance to go to meet her for dinner, and I think this picture is from when I was leaving that restaurant. Um, so this is one of the markets that I was telling you about. So one of the highs for me in every city I was in was the food. The food that I shopped for in local places, and actually cooked myself, but also the restaurants and the street food. So this is me buying red snapper and shrimp from a fish market outside the complex where I was staying, the condo building where I was staying. The whole street every Wednesday for about 6 hours is filled with local people, and there's like 6 or 7 fish tents where you can buy fresh fish from these people, and they weigh it and do it right there. But they were so wonderful and so nice. Between my broken Spanish and their broken English, I was able to explain. I know camarones because I love seafood, which is shrimp in Spanish, and pescado, and so it's just a lovely, lovely time, not just shopping with them but talking with them. And they were kind of giving me the inside scoop about which vendors to eat their food, because there were also people there selling cooked food. And so I kind of like getting the local opinion on the best of. So this is this is that same market that was outside the complex where I was staying, and you can see, and all of this stuff is like under $1. Let me do the video again because it was so short. I hope you guys can still see. Thank you for reminding folks to hit the like button and leave a comment if you can. Please write a comment that tells the algorithm that you're engaged. Yeah, so if you are a person who loves fresh, delicious fruit, and that in and of itself is enough of a reason to take a sabbatical. The fruit and the vegetables across the world when you leave the United States, unless you're growing it yourself in your own backyard in the United States, is just um, it's hard to explain how good it is. So this is a picture of the cobblestone street in San Miguel de Allende, and you can't see it very, very well here. Let me see if I go a full up, if that helps. But these dried flowers is a very important decorating trend or theme that you see in Mexico. They even make dried floral wreaths that you can wear as a headband or around your wrist or around your neck as a necklace, and they're just so intricately woven and gorgeous. But that is something that's really huge. Flowers everywhere is really huge in Mexico. Every city that we went, we saw fresh, gorgeous floral displays. They love decorating, and they love decorating with flowers. And you can see some of the ornate architecture. The other thing that's really big in Mexico, and that made me, so my favorite place of all the places I went was San Miguel de Allende. And even though I love the people and I met more people and spent more time in Guadalajara, and I would probably most likely, if I go back, be in Guadalajara because that's where I met the most people and know people now and have friends. I would say in terms of the fun that I had and the beauty that I had and the shopping that I did, oh my God, the shopping, amazing. And rooftop terraces is also a big thing. So if you can see at the top of this building, there's a rooftop terrace. And so here's another picture of the church that I was talking about. So this type of architecture where we have these 1,000-year-old churches that are still in operation or still is a building that's open that you can go in. And there are literally dozens, every city you go to, there's dozens of these churches. And the architecture and the wooden doors is just absolutely amazing. Added to the fact, I don't know if you can tell, but this is the churches or cathedrals tend to have plazas around them where everyday people go and have a sandwich. If you're walking and you're a tourist and you just want to sit down and rest your feet, like people are doing that. There are street vendors coming up to you trying to get you to buy stuff you don't need and want, but they're very polite and they take no for an answer well. So that was also really, really cool. So I was actually eating a sorbet. I had some amazing sorbet. So you see, most of my memories in Mexico are food memories. They're either food memories or shopping memories. So across the street from this plaza was a sorbet shop, and there's little benches, and I was just kind of sitting there enjoying the view. Is that the last picture? let's see. That might be the last one. I'm going to stop sharing. And then while I'm on that, I do want to also lift up two things that I bought. This came from Mexico City. I had an opportunity to meet my friend Yvette. Yvette's not online, but Yvette and I were accountability partners after my first Exodus Summit in 2021. And we met every week while I was planning to retire and relocate and like downsizing and selling my things in Chicago to move myself to my daughter's home in McDonough, Georgia. So we got to meet in person and to hang out 3 times. We went to this really phenomenal, famous restaurant. A little overpriced. Food was good, not amazing. But it had a spectacular view, and I know I've posted a lot of pictures from that restaurant and that plaza. Well, but I bought this spice grinder, which is, I'm going to mess it up. Curado de Mocajetes is what it's called. But it's made out of volcanic rock. And so I've always wanted one of these. Uh-oh. Gotta have some water. Okay. So I'm gonna get back to my script. So the highs were the food and the shopping. Oh, I did not get to show you. So this is an example of one of the beaded rings. It's very popular in Mexico. And I bought several, lots of jewelry. Also these earrings, I don't know if you could see them, is also sort of this, I wish I could remember. If you know, I know Marissa's lives in Mexico and has for years. If you know the names of these beaded jewelry, would you drop it in the chat for me? I really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, and so not only are they beautiful, they're affordable, they're handmade. You get to see the women actually making them. Sometimes out when you're at a vendor spot. When I was in, I can't remember if it was Mexico City or San Miguel de Allende. On Sundays, they have a lot of artisans that come out to plazas, and they're just basically making their crafts or wares out in the open view of the people who are coming by, and then they'll stop to ask questions, which is really exciting. So I guess I'm going to close this section by saying, I've shared a lot of highs. This theme was really about professional development, improving my Spanish language speaking and listening skills, exposing myself to more great food, great recipes. I did do another cooking class. I had a number of social outings. We did a tequila tour while we were in Mexico. We went to a winery while we were in San Miguel. But I would say the logistics is something that is still evolving. Like I would say that about 80% of the places that we stayed and the lodging that I booked was what I wanted. If you remember when I did the recap from my time in Central America, I shared that almost every place we stayed, there were amenities that they said they had that were out of service when we were there. So I finally perfected the memo or the sequence of memos or messages to Airbnb hosts. One, what to look for, what to ask for before I book, what to ask for and say right after I confirm, and then what to say about a week before I arrive, and then on the day of check-in or the night before check-in. So I have sort of a series or a plan of what I do. And the reason for that is because if you're booking someplace in my budget, if you're booking someplace for 28 days or even 7 days, the amount of money that you're spending, if you don't like that place once you get there, it takes them a while to settle the claim and reimburse you if you are eligible to like change your mind. And if it's something major, definitely you should do that, and I would do that. But then you're out of that money, and you got to come up with another $500, $600, $700 to go someplace else and stay until this works out. And of course, you have to, just the inconvenience of packing yourself up. And so that's why this sequence of clarifying the things that what I would say are non-negotiables for me. Now, if they say they have a coffee maker, and then you get there, and literally the coffee maker is filled with ants, that happen to be. And I don't know why it looked like it was a brand new coffee maker. I don't know if they had left, but I went to put hot water in it and ants started coming from everywhere. So fortunately, it was a property with the balcony. I went and put it outside. I took a little video. It showed it to them, and they were like, "Well, you can just clean it out." I was like, "How do I know that there aren't ground up ants somewhere in the mechanic? You know, because they were coming like from out where the motor would be." I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So I was like, you need to send somebody to come get it, and I would appreciate if you would bring me another one. So they never bought another one and brought it to me. So that's an example of like a minor thing that you're not going to cancel your whole stay, but you're going to be. I like to position myself in a way that I'm being understanding and being respectful, but I'm also trying to make sure that I get my money's worth. And so that's why I say that 80% of the time I felt like things went according to plan, better than plan. Yeah, but because I already said that I'm kind of not into critters and creatures, going someplace and finding that they have a lot of roaches or bugs or ants. Actually, I never saw any roaches. I mean, there are definitely times when you'll stay in an Airbnb, especially if you're like in a, well, actually, I guess it could happen in the city. I'm sorry, I'm sucking on this cough drop because I was trying to stop coughing. Um, but I saw a lot of ants and a lot of mosquitoes. But I was there in rainy season, and ants are a part of life. And so are mosquitoes if you're there in the rainy season. But there are some places that was better than others. So I got some thick skin. Also, I would say that this time I really embraced the slow travel lifestyle. And I learned that my sweet spot to stay in any city is about 30 days. If I stay in a hotel, I always want to stay at least 4 days, but not more than a week. My sweet spot for an Airbnb is actually less than 28 days because I kind of like trying out different neighborhoods. But because I'm a budget sabbatical traveler, I tend to need that discount that kicks in at the 28 days. Now, I tried this in Europe, in Spain, my very first sabbatical, and it didn't go over well because the host, she just didn't like me. And the reason why I was negotiating with her is because it was out of my budget, but it was the perfect place. And the in the US, as Americans, we're kind of socialized to think it's okay to negotiate. But long story short, I think culturally I was just kind of out of pocket then. Um, so I basically said to her, I'm staying at your place, and I was only going to be there 22 days. And I said, I know you get to give a discount for 28 days. Is it possible that I can get the discount even though I'm not there the whole time? I said, I have a hard stop where I have to go to the next location at a certain time. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been here 28 days. And your place is beautiful, but it's a little outside of my budget. So because it was the off season and she needed the money, she did negotiate with me and said yes, I could have it from that part. But I did not do a good job of asking her to show me pictures of everything, and I had a lot of challenges at that location in Spain, and I've actually talked about that in my European videos. So I want to close the episode tonight talking about sort of what are the key questions when it comes to planning that you need to ask yourself if you're planning a sabbatical. And this is going to be part of a larger checklist that I'm going to share in an upcoming course that I'm going to be offering. And the first question is, what are your non-negotiables? What are you going to be willing to splurge on, and how often are you going to splurge and give yourself that luxury item? What are you going to do to keep yourself grounded when you're staying for a long period of time? Another question that I found really important during this particular sabbatical is, how am I going to find community or create community? There are a lot of places, like I said, I was in a total of 7 WhatsApp groups. It was women in Guadalajara, co-workers in Guadalajara. That was a co-ed group. Foodies in Guadalajara, just an overall English-speaking expats in Guadalajara. And those are the 4 that I was active in, of the list of what I was actually like recommended to me. So finding and creating community for me, because of my personality, is really big. But Guadalajara is really the only place, partly because I was there in the context of, taking courses. And I had a friend, Leslie. Leslie, if you watch this ever, I miss you. And I met Leslie when I was traveling and house sitting in England last summer, 2024. And we stayed in touch, stayed friends, hung out then, but not really since. And she was like, well, I'm moving to Guadalajara. And if you need to take the course in Guadalajara, you should do it while we're here, and then we'll be able to spend more time together. And she offered me great like housing options and resources as well. But I ended up staying at a hostel that the school recommended. And so that's what I mean by like when you're on a budget, because I chose to stay in a hostel, which, hold on to your seat, $428 for the month, 30-day stay, $428. I had a 1 bedroom private bathroom, common areas, a lot of mosquitoes though. That's the place where I had the most mosquitoes, but it was a beautiful setting. And I would highly recommend you not writing off hostels, which by the way, actually I have 2 of these. I'm sorry. There was one other thing I was supposed to show you. I gotta move this down. One other thing I was supposed to show you all. I don't know if you can see how beautiful pink this is because I have a light on it. So this is one of those Mexican hand sewn or embroidered, I guess is the term. So it has like little gold. So I have one that doesn't have shiny beading. It's more of a matte color. And also this is sort of handmade and hand stitched and double sided headband. So just so many beautiful craft things. And because I was in Mexico at that hostel, we were around the corner from another one of those plazas that had a huge church, a huge cathedral with a huge. Anytime there's a huge cathedral, there tends to be a huge plaza, which means there tends to be vendors, both food and artisans, selling their wares. And so I was able to get a great deal with him and went back for that. But this is so beautiful. I haven't worn it yet. This pink one is my absolute favorite. So that's going to be my new favorite color. And I'm so mad that I didn't go back to buy more. It kept raining like in the evening and I would be tired, so I wouldn't go. But I really intended to go back and get more. So let's see. What else was I supposed to be showing you? I lost my notes. Um, so things that did not go well. I had an injury, and like I said, I had to experience health care, and that was a sweet spot because I've said it before, but I want to say it here again in the recap that the doctor came to see me at the hotel the day after I arrived. She wanted to, but that was the day of the Pride Parade and the streets were all shut down. So she came to see me at the Airbnb the following day. Another one of my travel tips is when I'm in a country or a city for the first time and I don't know anybody or nobody's there, I'm not going like to meet someone I know. I stay in a hotel the first 2 nights. And that allows me to get my bearings before I sort of move into the Airbnb and kind of don't know what's going on. And you're tired and you're groggy and you're hungry and all of that. So that's something that I continue to practice that I started doing last year. So I think it was $55 and she brought her nursing assistant with her. She did an hour intake and an exam, wrote 3 prescriptions and continued to follow up with me every week for almost a month after that. And she recommended that I see an orthopedic specialist, but I was so sure the orthopedic specialist, because I was paying cash out of pocket, was going to be so expensive. Guess what? $67 for the orthopedic specialist. He gave me an exam order for x-rays, 2 film in each knee, and that was going to be a total of $80. And it comes to find out I was actually at the end of, by the time I actually went to see him, I was sort of on my way out of Guadalajara. So I didn't get to do the physical therapy that he recommended. However, the next place that I go, I am going to actually get another exam, more x-rays, and do physical therapy on my knees. I'm actually not in any pain. I'm completely healed. But as I'm aging and in my family, there is arthritis, I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to stay as agile and flexible and mobile for the rest of my life. So that was the only real challenge or hiccup that we had. But like I said, they were all minor things like appliances. The other big thing that I ran into in Central America that didn't happen this time is every place we went, if they had a pool, it was working, it was operating, and I got to enjoy being in a pool. I love being in the water. So I didn't get to be on the beach, but I did get to be in the water. So I will take any questions that you all have. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Anything I didn't cover, anything you'd like to know more about. I don't want to talk specifically about the money that I spent because I'm saving that for some of the recorded things that I'm going to do when I have the numbers in front of me, and I won't be guessing and then later find out I was wrong. But I want to say that I generally travel with a budget of $2,000 to $2,500 a month. And there was one month that I definitely overspent that budget because I had been in the hostel. So instead of spending 1,500 on lodging, I had only spent $428 on lodging. So I kind of overdid it a little bit before that month, and then the month afterwards, I definitely overdid it. So I just was enjoying myself, which I think is one of the reasons why those questions are so important to me about like knowing your non-negotiables. Like I'm not gonna stay in a place that has bugs, roaches, bad ventilation, no access to air conditioning, no access to hot water. And then, oh, somebody's asking about insurance company. Yeah, I was gonna do, oh God, what's the one everybody talks about? I forgot. But it's the one that all the YouTubers, Safe Flight? No. Long story short, I got travel insurance, but I did not have health insurance while I was there. So I paid out of pocket. Like I said, $55, $67, $80. The first set of medications that I got that the primary care doctor gave me, Dr. Emmy, who was wonderful in Guadalajara, I want to say was $38, and I got 3 prescriptions. The orthopedic specialist, when he came, he gave me different medications, and those medications were actually they worked faster and they worked better because they were for the type of orthopedic injury inflammation that I was experiencing in my knee. So yeah, Safety Wing. Thank you. Yeah, Safety. I feel like everybody's got a YouTube channel and says, "Oh, this video is sponsored by Safety Wing." Anyway, yes. So I looked into that, but because I'm over 55, I'll be honest with you, Safety Wing gets more expensive as you get older. I was not willing to pay more than $100 a month, which honestly, $100 a month is still more than I was paying when I was working for my part of my insurance. But I felt pretty confident because I was also traveling with not just my pension, but I also had like a travel nest egg for like emergencies. That if I had a major hospitalization stay and I had to give them $10,000 to take care of me, I would have hated to do it, but I would have been able to do it. And so for me, it just didn't make sense to have that monthly budget, knowing that the chances that I would have a catastrophic issue. And I did have the travel emergency insurance, so I could be flown home if I didn't make it or whatever. But Safety Wing is definitely a very affordable option if you're under 50. So keep that in mind in the future. And then that's a great question. Anything else? Anything else? So I have a couple of announcements I want to close out with today. I only wanted to be on live for an hour, so I want to try to be sensitive, and I'm so grateful for your time. Let's see. I want to go back to my script just to make sure that I feel like I left some notes for myself. So I have a couple of things to say. Okay, so 2 things. One, the future of the channel. So this is my big announcement. So you guys get to be, some of you guys already know. So I feel I'm less excited. This is my first public announcement of where I'm going next, but there are some people in the chat who've had a chance to hang out with me and know where I'm going. So what is the, let me see, is there a drum roll here? Media. Drum roll, here we go. Can you hear it? Live. Is it going? I don't hear anything. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I hear absolutely nothing. Okay, so much for the special effects. I tried. So there's my own special effect with my rings. So I am going to Southeast Asia, and I am going to start out in Thailand, and I will be in Bangkok, Thailand, and I will be with Dr. Davia Brown Franklin in her location. And I'm super excited about that. Actually, I've never met her in person, but we are part of a group. Yeah, I didn't hear it either, Jen Cat. There was no drum roll. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I really need to learn how to use platform as a live streamer. I use it a lot as a recorded studio for recording, which works fine. But for some reason, nothing happened here either. So I apologize for that. But anyway, that's the first announcement. So where am I going next? So on December 2nd, I will be going to Bangkok, Thailand, and I will be going through Turkish Airlines, the stopover program. And so I will get to spend 23 hours in Istanbul. And so I'll have an overnight stay in Istanbul, which I'm really excited about. And I hope I get a passport stamp or something from that. And then I will be 3 months. I just completed my visa application for Thailand, which deserves its own video. To me, it was a lot. Maybe it wasn't a lot to people who are organized and have their stuff together, but to me, it was a lot. So in 10 days or 10 business days, which would be, I guess, I finished it on Friday. So technically 8 more business days. I will find out. And if I don't get it, that means I can only stay 2 months. I will have to do the other process. But I did the e-visa process because I wanted to stay 3 months. And then I will be going to Da Nang, Vietnam on March 4th, I think it is, because I had to buy the ticket of where I was going when I left there. And then I will be going to Malaysia. But I have done nothing to really research or plan for my trip to Kuala Lumpur other than to say that's going to be my third stop. So I will be in Vietnam for 1 month, and then I'll be in Kuala Lumpur for a month, which is a total of 5 months gone. And then my plan on the way back, because that's my birth month, is to stop in the south of France and socialize with some of my other Exodus Summit sisters. We're trying to plan a little meetup there. And I have a very dear friend who has relocated there. And so I'm hoping to spend some time with him as well. So that is my what's next for the channel and what's next for me. But I am going to be live streaming the next, 5 Tuesdays I'm in town, including the day I leave. I'm going to live stream from the airport the day that I leave. So I have a 7 p.m. flight to Istanbul on December 2nd, which just happens to be a Tuesday. So I think that'll be fun as well. And 2 other quick things that I want to share my screen for. I have been, so one of the other things I wanted to say that I'm working on is a course. I kind of alluded to the fact that I was working on a course. And so I want to be also the first, you all will be the first people to hear what it's called. This one, yes. So the course is called Sabbatical Secrets, Travel Longer for Less. So I'm in Canva working on a little poster, flyer, and some content. So the first iteration of the course will be on November the 21st. So like in 3 weeks from Friday. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm showing you the blank page. And it's very reasonable, only $39. It's 2 hours. And basically I have a 4-part blueprint that I'm going to be using. And so you're going to leave at the end of the 2 hours. So we're going to I'm going to do something, and then you're going to work for 10 or 15 minutes. I'm going to do something. You're going to work for 10 or 15 minutes. So if you know anybody who really wants to get out the door in 2026, the early bird pricing is $39, and it's going to go on sale next Monday. I got to finish the graphics and start posting them. So it's a 2-hour online workshop to turn your someday sabbatical into a concrete plan for 2026. And I think a lot of people think that budget traveling is like, I don't know, staying in hostel bunk beds and being with roaches. So that's not, so I've been in 2 hostels in my whole life, and neither one of them were anything like that. They were really quite nice and quite comfortable. I mean, kind of like a 3-star hotel, more honestly. So Friday evening, November 21st is what I'm looking forward to that. So that's one announcement, and I'm super excited about that course. One of the things that I'm going to do is I have a travel planner, which actually, remind me, I'm going to show it to you guys when I come back on screen. I'm not on screen. And then, let's see, I got to go back and stop sharing. Uh-oh. I don't know if you can see this. Okay, here we go. Picture-in-picture mode closed to record. Okay, it's telling me it closed picture-in-picture. Okay, the last announcement is the other thing that I really committed myself to doing when I got back. There's something about the version of yourself when you're traveling and you're on sabbatical and you're rested is a version that's usually very creative and more of like who you really are. So years ago, I developed this idea of doing a thank you book, a book to thank educators, Black educators in particular, for what they bring to the classroom, to the school system, to the lives of their students, to the families. My mother was an educator for 20. Can you guys see this? I don't know if I did this right. Sorry. Let me share screen again. I feel like I didn't do that right. Where's the share button? Sorry, I was talking. You guys weren't looking at anything. So this is a poster for my new book, which I finally wrote after 3 years. I actually wrote it while I was in Mexico, actually in San Miguel. I had started it 2 years ago. I feel like this is not, I feel like it's too big. You're not seeing all of it. So I have a book launch this coming Saturday, which is a book signing of the physical book that some of you heard about that was released in June, where I wrote a chapter called "You Deserve a Sabbatical" in a book celebrating women business owners. And that book signing of the physical book in Atlanta is this Saturday. So I wanted to have this book ready for pre-order this weekend so that I could announce it. And so that is the official cover. I'm grateful to you because I put in the chat on YouTube and on Substack and in some of the communities that I'm a part of, different options for the book cover. So that's the book cover. That's the title, Celebrate the Light You Bring, Affirmations to Teach with Joy, Power, and Purpose. And it's a book basically dedicated to Black teachers and teachers of color, with affirmations and beautiful visual images on the page with each affirmation. Then in the back of the book, it's got additional resources. It's got reflection questions and an essay I wrote about like the meaning, how important it is for teachers to protect themselves and nourish themselves in this season in our nation's history. So I'm really proud of it and just super excited to see people respond to the book. So it's going to come out as an ebook first, and then I'll get a chance to kind of look at the gift book because it's going to be a hardback book, so it'll be a gift book that you can buy to give a teacher. But it'll give me a couple weeks to kind of look at it and make any last minute edits that need to be made. So that is what I have been up to. Oh, I get to see now what this looked like. So now I can stop sharing. How do I stop sharing? Stop sharing. There we go. And so that is it. Thank you so much for your time and for your attention. We are finishing, even though I got a little bit of a late start. So I'm not going to keep you to 7:06. I would love it if you would also put in the comment any reactions or feedback that you have. About the workshop and or about the book, what your thoughts are. But there are a lot of really great things going on with this community on sabbatical with Dr. Krista. Oh, my dear friend and sister, Vicky Cherry. I won't start telling stories about how many decades we have been friends, but so glad that you're here. Yeah, so the book is ready. I'm excited. I mean, so when I think about going into 2026, what's next for me and for this season of my life, more than anything else, this sabbatical showed me that I love designing in Canva. I have always, for decades, I've been a person. Oh, I was supposed to tell you guys this. I have been a person who journals, and I like buying these little binders with the little elastic string and the pen. This is like my favorite style. But this is not a journal. It's a travel planner, and it has where you can budget, you can map out, I don't know if you can see this, map out your trips. So I didn't design this. I bought this, I don't know where. Actually, somebody on YouTube was talking about travel planners, digital travel planners. I downloaded it, bought it, started using it, and I was like, I need something and what I recognize, because I know me, is that the digital planner stands no chance of being utilized if there isn't a paper plan, if there isn't a paper version somewhere to tell me what I need to put in the digital planner. So this is nice because it can fit into my backpack, my purse, my whatever. And then it also has a space where you can journal like special moments, special thoughts. So the next time I do a recap, I don't have to make up stuff based on what I remember about the pictures. I'll actually have the notes in here. But it has the budgeting stuff. It has the pocket for the receipts. And contact information about excursions. I didn't really talk about excursions. I think that's another thing that I learned is that as much as I love an excursion for social outlet, I don't need a guided tour to tell me about. I've been to a lot of castles now, a lot of temples, a lot of cathedrals. And I'm probably going to do a lot more when I get to Thailand and to Vietnam. So I'm just really learning that as I now am a more experienced traveler, like what works for me. And I feel like I am developing a list of resources and tools that I can recommend to other travelers, particularly travelers who are solo travelers and who are over 50. And things that we might be worried about that maybe I wouldn't have been worried about when I was, 20 years ago. So the last thing I want to close with is this beautiful book, like what I'm reading now. I love Trisha Hersey. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm forever offering a card. And so this book is We Will Rest. It came out a year ago, The Art of Escape. I ordered it right before I left town. Well, actually, I think it came out like at Christmas time last year. But I ordered it in February, it came in March, and I was headed to Costa Rica, so I didn't get to read it. So this particular part about how to be an escape artist really, really resonated with me. And Marissa, I don't know if you're still here, but this reminded me of you when I was reading this. It's how to be an escape artist, an incomplete list. Create community, build community, be community. Community can seem impossible when you're exhausted, but it is possible. Community is anywhere two or more are gathered. It's still community. Don't rush to quantify as the marker of deep community and care. Don't rush to do anything alone. To be an escape artist is to be in the collective, supported in rest, care, and love. Demand the collective as a source of inspiration and change. Real change comes from real people. So that really resonated with me. This was my reading on yesterday. And then this is one of her cards that I often carry and use as bookmarks. And the card for this week is I am free, I am rested. You can't see this. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, that's not going to work. I'll take a picture and post it. I am free, I am rested, I am cared for, I am well. So I don't know what I'm talking about next Tuesday, but every Tuesday I'll be going live for about an hour. I'll be talking about some piece of planning for my sabbatical in Southeast Asia. And I'm going to close with a quote from this book, Patricia Hersey's Escape Artist. So I wish you well, I wish you rest, and thank you for being part of my community. Goodbye. Namaste.